Welcome to the Tattooed Truth Podcast with Anna Love, a space for embodied conversations for soul-led rebels. I'm your host, Anna Love, intuitive empowerment coach, subconscious healing guide, and no stranger to burning it all down to rise in truth. Here we dive deep into identity, healing, personal power, and what it really takes to lead a soul-aligned life. You'll hear unfiltered insights, real stories, and live coaching sessions with bold callers ready to break free and embody their next level. This is your invitation to reclaim your voice, rewire your patterns, and rise fully expressed. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Tattooed Truth Podcast. I am your host, Anna Love. Woo, you are in for a doozy today because we are talking about what I call the gold-plated prison. And that is when a life that looks good on paper still doesn't feel like yours. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to get into this. I'm going to have a personal story in here as usual, and maybe even a client story if I feel called to share that. So, this is for the woman who is dealing with the silent pain, what I call not the obvious kind of pain, not the crisis kind of pain, not where she's even at her breaking point. It's the pain of having and living this life that works, but it doesn't feel alive. It's a life that looks successful and may even check off your boxes of what does success look like, right? You might be very responsible. You might have an impressive resume or an impressive title or an impressive portfolio. But internally, it feels like you are itching to get out of your skin. It feels like there's a tightness, a heaviness in your chest, maybe even some constricting. And I call this the gold-plated prison because from the outside, it looks so beautiful. Okay. From the inside, it feels impossible. Impossible to explain why you're unhappy, why you don't feel grounded and settled, why you don't feel alive without sounding ungrateful, right? We can't really complain about it to our friends and family because our friends and family have watched us climb the ladder and achieve all that we said that we were going to. So now what are we going to do? Complain about it? So if this episode is already finding you, then there's a good chance that this is resonating with you as well. I believe in divine intervention. And let's talk about what the gold plate prison actually is and what happened to me in my life and the product of that. So I believe that this prison is created, just like everything else, from adaptation. It's built specifically by the woman who learns how to be responsible, capable, high functioning, needed, or good, right? The good girl. It forms when safety becomes the goal instead of truth. So, like many of the topics that I talk about, our lives and our realities revolve around how we have adapted to protect ourselves, how we're really just looking for safety. And you may have followed the rules like I did. You may have made smart choices like I did. You may have done what worked. And over time, as this builds up, you've built the life that you want and you begin to feel rewarded. Your bank account, your credentials, your experience, right? All of your life. And I'm not saying that all of that is bad. Like we want to have money, we want to have a great home, we want to be able to gain experience in the field that we're passionate about and help people. So all of these are perks and positives, and maybe it may even be right in alignment with your purpose and your passion. But internally, at least for me, something else was missing. Something else was happening. Maybe your intuition gets overridden. Maybe your aliveness gets quieter, right? Maybe your body gets quieter. Maybe you feel a sluggishness in your body or a fogginess in your head. And what we do as women specifically, we learn to override this. Not because we wouldn't be able to handle the changes or tackle it, not because we're not smart enough to figure this out on our own, but we don't necessarily have the answers yet. We don't know how to go internally inside of us to seek what it is that will shift this from an internal place. And we start looking on the outside, right? That's what we're trained to do. And it's not our fault. I like to say none of this is our fault, but it is our responsibility to take leadership over ourselves. So, why is it so hard to leave this type of lifestyle? And this is where I can tell you my story. It's very, very difficult to leave this gold-plated prison. And this is what no one tells you because you think that it's not so bad. You think it's not going to be better on the other side. It's not going to be, the grass isn't going to be greener over there, right? You may not be living in chaos, but, and you may be checking all the boxes, like I said, and this is successful and this is validating. And we might even feel really good about ourselves because we are living a certain type of lifestyle. This is something that we've earned. This is something that we've put years and years and years into, right? Maybe schooling, maybe a trade. We've put so much of ourselves into this, whether it be a long-term goal or just the way that it evolved. And this in itself creates a specific type of guilt, right? This I should be happy, or other people would kill for this, right? Or like, what's wrong with me? Why am I unhappy here? So instead of listening to that discomfort, we become it, we internalize it, we try to spiritualize it, right? We try to numb or we try to normalize it. And then we begin to what I call survive. Now we're in surviving, even though this is like the craziest thing I'm talking about, because we might have, like I said, all the things that other people are looking at us and saying, I want that. I want to be her. I want to have what she has. Look at all her accomplishments. Look at what she's done. But yet we're in survival. Our nervous system is in survival. We're not living the life that we thought we would be living once we got to the place that we're in. So, the line I want you to hear very clearly is this. And I love this line. I learned it from Marissa Peer, who taught me how all about hypnotherapy is familiarity is not freedom. So it's just what our nervous system recognizes as safe. But when you take what's unfamiliar, the things that we're not used to doing, and we start doing that, creating new habits, creating new ways of being, breaking the molds of what we've been doing, breaking the old identities and creating new identities. We take what's unfamiliar and we make it familiar. Then all of a sudden that becomes our new norm, right? But our nervous system recognizes what is familiar and just like it recognizes it to be safe. And many women mistake, like I said earlier, the absence of chaos for fulfillment. But safety without authenticity becomes stagnant. It becomes boring. It becomes blah. It becomes ho hum. It becomes here we go again. Is it Monday or is it Friday? Who knows? And what's interesting is the body knows. That's when our body starts to react in ways that start to harm us. Anxiety, exhaustion, overwhelm. Our motivation may disappear. We start to feel resistant to doing things. Maybe we don't want to go to the gym anymore. Maybe we don't want to eat healthy anymore. Maybe we want to just grab a quick bag of chips. We start to feel restless. We start to feel irritated for no reason. We start to numb out. And this is what I used to do. And here's what's important to know. Your body isn't malfunctioning. It's telling you the truth that your life has outgrown this identity and this way of being. And where this happened for me is back when I was living this beautiful dream life from looking from the outside looking in. I was married. I had a beautiful teaching position, teaching kindergarten, something I said that I had always wanted to do. I was starting Tiny Chefs. That was starting to get big and growing. And it was creating a new identity, like I was now an entrepreneur. So I was expanding and growing, and life felt really prosperous there. But it also felt like after a while, after I had my babies and Tiny Chefs was really, really up and booming and going, and I had team created on Tiny Chefs that was helping me run the program, run the processes, run the day to day. All of a sudden, I started noticing that my body was sluggish. I like would look at my laptop and not even want to open it. And I was like barely working. I didn't feel like putting in the effort. I didn't feel like being creative anymore. And I'm like, what is going on? There's nothing wrong with my life. Everything is the way that it's supposed to be. Everything is the way that I designed it to be. Why am I not motivated? Why is the only thing I can really do is like go to the gym or cook dinner? That was my goals, being with my kids, cooking dinner, going to the gym. I didn't want anything to do with anything creative. I would like zone out on like reality TV shows, couldn't wait to pop the bottle of wine while I was making dinner, 2, 3 glasses a night. And I wasn't listening to my inner voice. I wasn't listening to my truth. So the wake up moment comes differently for all of us. And doesn't really come in, it comes in very much like a wrecking ball, like it did for me. It didn't come in like a little birdie came and dropped me a memo and was like, hey, Anna, this is going on for you. Like I was fighting it. I was fighting what I was feeling in my body. And I mean, I'm talking this went on for a while and it affected my marriage. It affected my relationship with my kids even. And the problem is it affected my relationship with myself, where I wasn't being honest and truthful with myself. I was just getting up and I was overriding everything. And I was saying, like, this shouldn't be, right? I don't even know who I am. Have you ever said that? I don't know who I am. I can't keep doing this. Have you ever woken up and thought, like, oh my God, here I am again? This shouldn't feel this hard. And the moment that you realize that nothing is actually wrong, but nothing is actually right, you start to go into a depression. You might start to go into anxiety, and it might feel like you can't find anything to be grateful for. It might feel like grief almost. So if this is resonating for you, I'd love, love, love to talk about this. Please find me over on my Instagram at I am the Anna Love, because leaving this gold-plated prison doesn't just mean that you're changing your life, it means that you are changing your identity. And a lot of people don't like to hear this. A lot of people don't want to do that inner work. I have clients who they're referred to me and they'll start talking to me and then they realize they don't want to do the work. And then all of a sudden they poof disappear. And I'm like, yeah, they didn't want to do the work. Because when you work with me, you're going to do the work. You're going to clear out all the things that are clogging that valve up, clogging that system up, making it so that you cannot figure out what's going on. And it does mean that things are going to shift in your life. It does mean that things are going to start looking different. It does mean that people around you that relate with you may not like the new you. This is all very, very layered. I could talk about this for hours, but part of it does mean letting go of different versions of yourself. Like I don't drink anymore. When I wake up in the morning, I'm like ready to create. I'm obsessed to record this next podcast. I'm writing a book right now that is literally about this gold-plated prison. But there's going to 1000% become this point where you're going to grieve parts of you. You're going to wonder, like, am I doing the right thing? Am I supposed to be doing this? I literally felt like I was in trouble. Like, am I allowed to do this? Am I allowed to change my personality? Am I allowed? What are people going to, there was a point where I was like, what are people going to think of me back in the day? So if you're here listening to this, you're recognizing, oh my God, I feel unmotivated. Oh my God, I feel ungrateful. You're not being dramatic. You're ready. That's what it means. You're ready to stop living from adaptation. You're ready to stop negotiating your truth. You're ready to stop calling your endurance a virtue. Freedom doesn't begin with blowing up your life. You don't have to do what I do and get a huge divorce and literally flip the table on your life. You don't have to have a nervous breakdown in order to be able to change things. It begins with honesty. It begins with transparency. It begins with going inward and talking to the real you who's in there, not the ego versions of you who are out there performing. And asking yourself these questions: what am I tolerating? Oh, I love that question. What have I been tolerating? What have I been putting up with? Where are my standards? Oh my gosh, this is such a touching topic. I just love this topic so much. Who did I have to become to be safe? That's another question to ask yourself. How did I even get here? Who am I being right now in order to feel this safety? And this is so important, asking yourself, what is your body trying to say to you? Because your body is speaking to you. So, this is the work that I live, eat, breathe, sleep, love it, write books about it, talk about it all the time. If you ever get in a conversation with me, you're not getting out of it. We're going to talk about it for 3 days. This is the work that I guide women through, and it's returning to who you are before you learned to shrink, before you learned to self abandon, before you learned to perform. And I'm talking that's way back. That could be 3 years old, 2 years old, 4 years old. If this episode stirred something in you, and I'm hoping it did, please share it to someone who you know. Please come find me on Instagram and we'll chat it up about this, or you can always email me. But listen, I want you to take away one thing. I just wanted to maybe plant some seeds here. I don't want you going out and cutting ties and needing to feel like you have to rush or go do something rash today. Don't make any sudden changes. Just start noticing. And I love this so much because what we can notice, then we can start to shift. If you're not even aware of this, but it feels like, oh my God, there's something in my body that Anna's saying right now that's like hitting something. I don't know what it is. Just start to become aware, start to notice where your body longs for more honesty, more space. Okay, it's not being selfish, it's the beginning of freedom. So, whew, the gold-plated prison only works as long as you pretend it isn't one. Okay. I'll leave you with that. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. I'll leave you with that today. Love you. Talk soon. Thanks for tuning in to the Tattooed Truth podcast. If this episode lit something up in you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it, leave a review, and make sure you're subscribed so you never miss a truth bomb. If you're craving deeper support, guided healing, or a space to reclaim your voice and power, check the show notes for ways to work with me. Remember, your truth is not too loud, too bold, or too much. It's exactly what this world needs. Keep showing up, stay wild, stay true. I'll see you next time.